it's funny that Paramount is the only company that's still delaying movies. I know Ghostbusters got delayed a week, but that's because they want to make the most amount of money possible on Thanksgiving weekend. But it seems that Paramount again is being cowardly. They delayed the Clifford movie, which no one was gonna watch, and they're delaying Top Gun and Mission Impossible 7 because they're so worried about the COVID thing. No one else is. Only Paramount is acting like this. And Sony to a certain extent with the deal with Amazon. But I think that was just a deal with Amazon that they made, not really because of COVID, because that's what they want, because Amazon made that deal with Sony. But Paramount is the biggest joke of movie distributors, I think, out of them all. Well, even now more than Lionsgate. And Paramount does make sometimes pretty good movies. I'm not gonna say it why and say they don't make good movies. Sometimes they make pretty good movies, but it seems that Paramount is, you know, dying. It's dying basically as a company. Ghostbusters also delayed a week. It's just a week. No, but that's not real. It's they delayed Ghostbusters a week, but that's because they want to inherit the IMAX and premium wide formats, obviously both for Top Gun 2, and they want to make more money because that means if you release a week after a Marvel movie, unless the movie's like an absolute failure, typically a movie typically performs far worse. Okay, all you have to do is look at movies that released after Endgame, Infinity War, and of course Black Widow. You know, those movies underperform. Most movies that release after Marvel movies typically underperform massively. They typically do. Okay? And they're gonna Ghostbusters is gonna try to distance itself the most from Marvel it can. And I think that's a good idea. And of course, they're basically still sandwiched between Marvel and Enchanto. And also they do a Jackass Forever. They didn't even talk about Jackass Forever, I believe, at all. But Paramount is just completely falling apart. You know, basically, you know, and yeah, Top Gun. I think Memorial Day is a pretty good weekend because it is a patriotic movie, basically, like the first movie was. You know, I think in 4th of July weekend would have been better, but that means they'll be competing with that Minions. But Mission Impossible also got delayed as well. And it's just funny. It's because they're saying it's COVID, but we all know it's because they're scared that there's a dying studio. There's a dying studio, and they have been dying for the past decade. The other studio was Fox Pictures, and they got bought out by Disney. Paramount is doing even worse than Lionsgate now, in terms of movies. That's just the most hilarious thing. Lionsgate is doing better than Paramount. Sony is too. Sony is another studio that really just relies on Spider-Man. That's it. Okay, but what franchises do they own? Mission Impossible. They just rely on Tom Cruise. Transformers and Sonic are other franchises they can make money on, but Sonic was not Sonic. It's funny how they didn't raise Sonic. That's the thing. They didn't raise Sonic 2 or Transformers Rise of Beasts, which is still releasing in summer, and Sonic is still releasing in, and Paramount did better for post-pandemic movies. That's the weird part. They did much better with post-pandemic movies of Quiet Place Part 2 and Paw Patrol doing pretty well compared to the budgets. Okay, Quiet Place making a lot of money, and Paw Patrol. You can also see by the Blu-ray releases. They don't do comic packs anymore. So it's showing signs of a dying studio. Paramount is a dying studio. Okay. And they just rely on Tom Cruise. And that's not how... They can't make money off of Tom Cruise forever. Okay? Yeah, they made a lot of money on Sonic, obviously. But Paramount is a dying movie studio. It's a dying movie company. Not too surprising. You know, they delayed all the movies. They're the only one that is delaying all the movies for some reason. Even though they can just put it on a streaming service instead, they don't want to do that either. You know, as well. And no one else is doing the movies. You can look up movie delay outside, of course, Ghostbusters delaying the movie a week. You really see, oh, it's just, you know, because Venom 2 was not delayed. There was a thing that came out and they didn't delay the movie. It's funny how I made a video about anticipated movies this year. I put Top Gun Maverick. It's not gonna compare to Spider-Man, but nope, it's Paramount that's gonna delay it anyways, because that's Paramount for you. This is why people don't like Paramount anymore, because Paramount's the only one. We also had Venom 2 delayed. The Venom 2 was not delayed. And No Way Home was not delayed. There was rumors of that one. And most other movies are not being delayed. And no other movies were delayed yet. The Eternals is probably not going to be delayed. Shang-Chi is probably not going to be delayed. Everyone else is not going to be delayed, except for, of course, Paramount. Goodbye.